Welcome to An Aries and Pisces Walk Into a Coffee Shop, the podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Bridget, she, her.
And I'm Tiffany, she, her. This is a podcast where two friends let go of perfectionism and talk unedited.
Live, and they can't see
You're
me.
touching your mic. I can hear.
Oh, sorry.
We're doing so good. These fucking mics.
Being a human is so hard.
It's ridiculous, actually. I think I'm changing it from everything being hard to everything just being ridiculous. Because I am looking for more levity in my life, and I'm tired of all the hard. I'm tired of it all being so hard. So I just determined right now that I'm just going to say it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Okay, so maybe if we can frame everything in an absurdist way, we can laugh about it.
Yes.
I do want some of that. I know people that are really good at that. I don't know if it's just a lifelong practice of theirs or if they just have like a natural knack. But I want a piece of that, and I'm finding it very difficult to have. I'm going to blame all the Capricorn in my chart.
I think it's practice, because I also have all of the Capricorn in my chart.
Well, and you do practice.
And it is hard, yes, and I have really been practicing, and I think it's starting to pay off, and I think I'm starting to like be able to bring it into other situations like this one right here, where I was just like, oh, you said it's hard, and I was like, yeah, it is hard. I'm tired of things being hard. Let's make it ridiculous instead.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because
you are good at it.
I made my affirmation for this week again. I inject joy into each moment. And I was thinking, like, is inject the right word? Should it be like interject?
When you talked about it the first time you had that affirmation and you shared it with me, not the first time you had it, I don't know how. When you first shared that affirmation with me,
it wasn't
you
that
talked
long
about the word inject, and the way that you described it made a lot of sense. Now, for me, I have a hard time because of my phobia that I have gotten better about.
This is why I don't like it. This is why I was like, I think I need a different word.
But when I hear that, I try to so you know how I got around it? Because when you first described it to me, I was like, this is making me a little queasy. But Great British Bake Off, have you watched that?
No.
It's a delight. It was my joy practice.
Okay.
So that's my joy practice. It's just wholesome and sweet. And in between scenes of the bakers, they just give you pastoral like fields. They like show you bumblebees. Sometimes there's a goat. They're just like, look, nature in between baking. Because like the show is set in a tent in a field. It's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very lovely. So that got me through the pandemic and after. I've been watching it for years now. Binged it, and now I'm like, sometimes I rewatch it if I'm having a bad time. And on that show, I learned that there is a technique of cake decorating where, and I've seen this online, I think, at some point, but multiple people have done it on the show where it's like a clear Jell-O mold. And then they have these different tools where you have different colors that you stick into the Jell-O and then like puncture like sculptures basically with paint, edible, into this Jell-O. So then you flip it over and it's like, oh, look, a beautiful flower.
Wow.
And they are injecting this into the Jell-O, and that's how I got over my queasy of like, I don't like the phrasing, but then I was like, or Jell-O flowers. Those are pretty.
Jell-O flowers. Yeah, because you can also do that with like cakes and cupcakes and like inject the like filling into the center.
Right. So it does make a lot of sense, but that's just a me, like that's just a me specific queasiness. I mean, I know
Well,
other
but
people have
it's
phobias too, but
yeah, and I think that like when I came up with this phrase, I was thinking of it in that way. Like
mm,
if you were to ask me what the picture was in my head, right, it would be something more along the lines of like a cake. Like I'm injecting some like custard into
mm-hmm.
this situation.
Sure. Yeah.
Um and like
Delicious.
that's how I was picturing it. Like I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm injecting some like joy into it. But then the thing happened this week to me where I went to the doctor's appointment and I found out I have to have two procedures and get blood work done. And then I came up against my affirmation that I wanted to be for this week again. And I was like, all of
Mm.
a sudden the word inject seemed very bad to think about.
Yeah, because now you have the medical
And so
overlay.
now I'm like, wait, do I like this phrase this week? Or is it maybe should I choose something else? Um, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Um, I really love that you have phrases and intentions, and I've been thinking a lot about, was it? Oh my goodness. I just had like a really weird like time travel moment. I can't remember if it was last year, as in just the year we just left, or the year
Mhm,
before that,
mhm.
where you were talking about unhinged a lot. What year
Oh,
was that?
2023. That was my
It
word.
was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was this past year.
Time is so confusing.
Yeah, it is.
Um, and I love that. And I think I shared with you that it was popping up like in that synchronistic way everywhere else. And then now it has evolved where on my end, the unhinged has evolved into feral,
Mm.
where I've had multiple people near me or like accounts I follow like start talking about being feral. And
I love that you're just giggling about this. This is making me so happy.
it made me really happy because like it just it because it felt related to that, but just like a, "Oh, no, we have to go so much further. We need to keep
Hmm.
pushing the envelope." And I'm giggling because one of the weird synchronicity things that keeps on popping up is a screaming possum. Like, that is the image that keeps on getting attached to be like, and it's extra funny to me because I also follow a couple of like animal rescue accounts, and one of them is the Juniper Fox that I think
Uh-huh.
we've talked about before. And she often takes in possums, and her videos, like they're just snuggly little marsupials just waddling around, like trying to get their snacks and like find their little hidey holes, and just they're just so gentle and sweet. And so there's like that idea of a possum I have in my head now.
Uh-huh.
And now lately, over and over again, it's just a screaming possum and all these like memes and art and comics and posts. And it just feels um like another level of unhinged. Ooh, yeah. So like if you have two hinges on a door, it's like last year it was like one hinge was off and the other was like holding on. And now it's just like, what breath is going to make that door just really fly off? Because like
Mm.
we're not doing doors this year.
Yeah. I feel similarly, and I would love next time you see a screaming possum, can you please send it to me?
Yeah, sure, I
Thank you.
can.
Um, yeah, so I think for me, the hinge situation, uh, they're just blown wide, just right off now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think last year, especially at the beginning of the year, I was like, we're opening that door. And now at this point, I'm like, oh, bitch, that's well gone. Like the
Okay.
hinges are fucking gone. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
I'm
just
glad you
gone.
agree with the
We're
evolution.
Yeah, we're wide. We're wide open. And it's funny because like I did not think of unhinged in that way when I chose the
Mhm.
word, when I chose the vibes. It was just kind of like, yeah, we're like opening up. We're getting kind of crazy in the way of like, I don't give a fuck anymore about what you think or like I'm going to do what I
Mhm.
want to do, even if it seems absolutely absurd, to other people.
Right.
And I think that it took on, yes, like other meanings of that word, of actual
Mhm.
like, oh, the hinges on a door, right? The things that are like holding this container
Mhm.
closed and contained and, in one piece. And now it's just like tornado came and went. Like it's it's like it's off, it's gone, it's out there. We are now unhinged, I guess. But I don't know, it's weird because I don't necessarily feel the way that I thought that I was going to feel in unhingedness.
Mhm.
Maybe I wonder if it's because the unhinging was of things that I wasn't expecting, and I like really got
Oh,
rocked.
yep.
And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, I didn't want to get rocked in that way.
Yeah, you wanted to control the chaos, and the chaos
Yeah,
is like,
yeah. Wait, we don't get to decide?
yeah,
I
this
don't.
tracks. Jordan, the your astrologer friend,
Mhm.
um, had written about that, and I can't remember exactly what planets were doing what at the time, but in one of her newsletters, she was talking about how the astrology was pulling things away that weren't for us,
Mm.
um, whether you liked it or not.
Yeah.
And I kind of got that echoed in a lot of other people's experience where we were inviting in this intention of how we wanted to feel, where we wanted to go, and the process was not what we thought it was going to
Yeah.
be. Where it was
Yeah.
like, no, not like that though. Excuse
Yeah.
me. I know I said I wanted this, but not in that way.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be gentler or different or more connected. And I just found that that wasn't the case. Um, I hadn't really thought about this either, the image of the hinges with the door, but another weird synchronicity thing that I've been side eyeing a lot is portals.
Mm.
Portals keep on popping up in like things I'm reading, images that make me laugh. And I'm feeling like that is an also its own evolution from like unhinged to feral, from a hinged door to just a portal. Just like
Yes.
you're just walking along and then you're like, whoa, wait, what? Where have I gone? What is this?
Yeah. Can I tell you that that is exactly what it feels like stepping into 2024?
A portal?
And yeah, yeah, yeah. Like what's today? So today's January 8th. Um and like I totally do not subscribe to the whole like calendar year is like the start of something new,
Right.
other than anything other than just like numbers on a calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because it just doesn't feel that way seasonally, whatever,
Yeah.
astrologically, all of the ways. However, 2024 calendar change happened, and like I am already like we are somewhere else.
Mm,
Absolutely, like it's just like so many things just are like, yeah, I'm looking around like, wait, where'd I end up? How'd I get here?
yep.
Like, I think especially it's with like that stuff with my doctor stuff, my health is just like happening all at once, and where it feels like all of a sudden and things are just like weird about it. And then like similar things are happening with Luke and
Mm,
at this kind of same like rate, and we're
yeah.
both like, "Ugh, what's happening?" And Brienne and I went roller skating this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go like every other weekend. So this was our first time in 2024
Mm-hmm.
skating. And we go at the same time on the same day of the week, right? So it's pretty much we like know what to expect. It's a Saturday
Yeah.
afternoon. You've got like kids' birthday parties. So it's
Mm-hmm.
generally like a gaggle of children running about. And then there's some adults that skate, some like parents that are skating, and
Mm-hmm.
a few, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
a few kind of like regular adults that, we just kind of like see all the time there. And we walk in on Saturday and it was just like pure chaos. It was
Oh.
almost like and we've been there when there have been like 3 birthday parties at once, so there's like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of kids, but it wasn't even that. It was like there were a bunch of kids, but it seemed like every kid had just this insane energy. It like
Feral.
yes. And she like Brienne was like, "Why are these children all just like running as fast as they can on the skate rink? Like
Mm-hmm.
just fucking absolute insanity." We got out there and we were like, "What is happening around us?" And then I like me and some other woman like collided at like one point. It was
Whoa.
like wild. Nobody fell. We were like, "Okay." Um but there's just children like just running, slamming, falling, rolling, just absolute mayhem. And then at the end of the session, a woman fell and they closed down early. The like ambulance came, took her out on a stretcher. We were just like,
Whoa.
what the fuck is happening? Oh, 2024 feels absolutely insane. And I was like, and I think that was the moment where I was like, there's a palpable shift. Like, it's only been a few days,
Mm-hmm.
but like something's happening. Something's happened.
No
And
wonder I've
I
been
was
having to lay
shocked.
down so much.
Oh my God. Yeah. And when I got home, I was wiped out,
Oh, yeah.
completely exhausted.
Yeah, that sounds like a very overwhelming, energetic time.
I think it didn't occur to me till just now, too. I was like, why am I so fucking tired?
You just explained it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why. Because I do remember you texting that you were really wiped out, but I didn't really think to ask a follow-up question because we had been talking about how we were both just really feeling
hmm
generally not the most energetic. And I knew I was laying down a lot, so I was just like, yes, tracks with the general timing of it all. Um, and it is interesting to hear you say that it felt like it was all of a sudden because I'm remembering I've been reflecting a lot on like the Mercury retrograde into the new
Mm.
year. And this was one of the few New Years where that astrology actually did make it feel like a shift for me because I think Mercury retrograde ended on the 1st, if I'm not mistaken, or at least around there.
I think.
There was a couple of other things going on too, and I can't remember what they are now because of brain fog. But at the time, I remember thinking, oh, okay, like there's a lot of like shifting energy that did kind of make the first feel um like we were stepping into something else, which I normally, I mean, I love celebrating the new year. I like any excuse to do a winter celebration, but my New Year's tends to start back in autumn. Like that feels like
Mm.
when things really, mm, that's when like my intentions get a lot clearer. I start already reflecting on the past of the year and I'm like gearing up for winter or gearing down, I guess is probably a better way to put that because that's what I'm doing.
Mhm.
But you were saying that it felt like all of a sudden, and I had been thinking about my Mercury retrograde versus your Mercury retrograde. And I was just saying this to someone else where um, before the Mercury retrograde started, I was feeling good. I was like looking forward to a Mercury
Mhm.
retrograde because typically, I mean, every once in a while they get me good, but most of the time when they happen, I like what they're doing. And I tend to do well in a slower um time period. Now, it took me a long time to learn that, but I practiced it and I was really looking forward to it. And I remember you were dreading it. You had a lot of catastrophizing going on. And then you seemed, correct me if I'm wrong, to have a great Mercury retrograde where everything was coming up roses for Bridget. Like things that you were so worried about ended up being better than you had anticipated. Like you seemed like you were like, oh, yeah, this isn't how I thought it was going to go. And it's great. And I had the opposite experience where I was just like, no, 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 not like that. Like, what are you doing? Just white knuckling through. I did not have a good time. I broke so many things. I had so many, like, just discombobulation. I was late for everything. Even things I really wanted to be on time for. Like, I was really late. And I was just really struggling to be human all through it. And so I feel like maybe you didn't know how much work you'd been doing because I don't think it was all of a sudden. I think you worked really hard.
Yeah,
And I'm wondering how you feel about it now upon reflecting.
yeah. I also remember the whole going into the Mercury retrograde, and you gave me like such a great pep talk, and I was still like freaking out about it. But then things kept happening, and I texted you, and I'm like, oh my God, Mercury retrograde blessings.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like the things happened, and they happened not in the way that I wanted them, right? But then it ended up being like, oh wait, that actually worked out better than I thought. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not like worse. Um, but then like weird things started happening. And I just kind of started feeling like really jumbled and I lost the
Mm,
blessings part of it. And I was just
sure.
like, wait, what the fuck's happening
Mm-hmm.
here? And I think, I don't know, I kept like really trying to hold on to the pieces that were going well,
Mm-hmm.
while at the same time being really confused about the pieces that weren't. And I was like, just like, why? Like, and I'm still kind of like, what, why did that happen like that? Like, what did I get out of
Mm.
that? Like, what did that do for me? Like, and
Ooh, okay, yeah.
so some of that still feels really confusing. So I had, I think, a good, healthy dose of both.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. We started out real strong.
Yeah, you
And
did.
then it just kind of like went like this and like it all
Ooh.
went together because it's not like, oh, just really great things were happening and then really not great things were happening. It was like, great. Ugh, what's that? Oh yeah, this went well. Wait, what's this? Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. It was just a lot of ugh.
Ooh, good
and
point.
and I I wonder now too, like with this like start fresh vibes, whatever these feelings are happening, I've been feeling very motivated to make change and being like, okay, well, all I have to do is just start making decisions and then doing that.
Mm,
It's all just, I got to make a decision and then do the thing. And so then I have been like, okay, I'm going to make the decision. I make the decision and then I do the thing. And I think that that's where it feels like wild, like things are just like happening, but like happening in a, like, I'm like, okay, well, I made the decision. I started to do the thing. And now I'm like, "But why is it happening like this?"
okay. Right. Oh, the paradox. Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like really good about making that decision and taking the action.
Right.
And then I'm like, but what's happening afterwards? I'm just feeling confused.
Mm-hmm. This is very relatable, and I keep on looking back at things that I had set intentions for and being like, I can kind of see how I'm on my way, but it's what you're saying. Why did it have to happen like that? Why is it going this way though? Because that's not what I intended. But I can see how the things that are happening could lead me to where I wanted to go. And right now I'm dealing with the phrase that popped into my head was a petty rage about how it didn't go the way I had wanted it to. And all of the messages that I've been getting from tarot or astrology or just, I mean, I guess it's kind of like bibliomancy, but even on the internet, like things that just come across to me are all about this idea of trusting the process, trusting, you know, the phrase that I love, hate, hate, love. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot and how much I find it very distasteful.
I think that phrase is the problem that's in my head right now, because I'm like, what is this doing for me? Right? Like,
Because you
yeah,
can't
like
figure
what
it out
am I
right
getting?
now.
Yeah, and that's bothering me.
Yeah, that's fair. You and I both love analyzing a thing.
God
Intellectualizing? Yes, please.
yeah,
Give
I
me
don't want
more
to
of
just be
that.
like, oh, I'm on the journey. This is the journey. This is what it is. No, I want to fucking understand it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's relatable. I think that, I know that one of the things I've been talking about for a long time is the idea of like embodiment and feeling practice. And now I think I've been doing that work, and now I feel like I'm in a depth of it that I don't want to say not prepared for, not anticipating. And then I'm like, you not only asked for this, but you decided to do things for this. And now I'm in it. And I was like, what were you thinking? Why would you do this? I know the reasons. They're good answers. I'm not having a nice time.
God.
And
Bleh.
I pulled from my really nice deck, my Wild Kuan Yin Oracle deck.
Can
I guess
can you hear this bird?
No.
Oh, he's not doing it now.
Was he talking?
Yeah.
Right at your window?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Very
What kind of bird
sweet.
was it?
It's a male house finch. He's still here,
Oh,
but
maybe he'll chime in again.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could hear it or not.
I might have been able to, but I was chasing a thought real hard.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. We could always interrupt for birds.
Okay.
Good cake.
Did you just hear it?
Yep. Sweet. Just like, I'm here
So
too.
sweet. Yeah, and then he just left. He's like, "Okay, you two go about your business now."
Oh, so precious.
Yeah.
So I normally reach for the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle when I want a good hug. And I thought, I'll get a good hug because I pulled a tarot card that I didn't like. What happened?
No, I just like, it was just like the way that you said that, and now I'm wondering, like, what card did you get?
Well, so it's like, it is very sweet, but so I pulled the tarot card and I was like, okay, I get it. It was reverse Knight of Cups. And I pulled it from like the oldest deck I own, the deck I like learned tarot from. And it's a really like beautiful image. I don't know if you can really see it very well in this lighting. But like, it's pretty. It's very watery. You know how I love water. And I was thinking about I don't want to feel anymore right now. And I'm also having a really hard time. Like, I don't want anyone else to know that I have feelings either. It's just too much. Like, I just feel like I'm leaking everywhere. And I
Mm.
don't want anyone to know. But it's like, I feel like I can't hide. And it just feels very exposing. And then I pulled this card, which is basically like, yeah, keep doing that. And I'm like, well, I don't like that. So I'm going to go to Kuan Yin and she's going to give me a hug. And then it was a hug, but it just reinforced that I have to keep doing this because then I got Holy Sisters. And when I was reading the guidance and interpretation, it was like, you have to keep opening yourself up to people. You have to keep on making connections. You have to keep on sharing yourself. Like, basically what we were talking about not last time we spoke, but the time before that, maybe. It doesn't matter. Time isn't real. We were talking about healing in community.
Uh-huh.
And so then I was just like,
Oh.
okay, well, guess that answer. I think I was looking for a permission slip to isolate. And what I
Yeah.
what I'm getting.
Yeah. Do you know what I pulled this morning?
What?
I pulled Sea Change, Protea, and
Oh my God.
I was like, I wonder how Tiffany's doing. It's basically like, we're riding the waves, and I love the end. What is it? The wind will call you by a new name. Like, was it the wind or the sea? Should I read it?
Yeah, you do, because I obviously need that card because I do not feel like I'm riding any wave. I feel like I'm getting tossed around in the very deep undercurrents of an abyss. And I don't know which way is up.
Protea is Sea Change, reminding readers of transformations too powerful to recast. Accept weakness, buoy yourself atop the current, and heed the prevailing tempest. The wind will call you by a new name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's where I'm at.
I also really needed that, but I thought that it was funny that I was like, I wonder how Tiffany's doing.
That card does come up between us quite a lot, so I very much appreciate you knowing that, thinking about me, bringing it up. Oh, you're such a good messenger. Thank you.
It did feel very. Sometimes this card does not feel comforting, but today it feels comforting because I think like sometimes, like when you're like really going through it and you're like, yeah, I'm getting battered around by these waves, like it really fucking sucks. Like, I don't want to keep like changing. I don't want to turn into like whoever this is with the new name. Like, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
any of this. But I think today it felt more like empowering, maybe because I feel like I have been getting like battered around a lot, and just I guess like the idea of, or the notion of, or that last sentence, like the wind will call you by a new name. It's like, I know that I'm going through something. I'm gonna make it out on the other side. I'm gonna, like be better for it in some way or another. And like, it feels empowering to me in a way that my words are not making it come out. Um, and I'm just gonna be okay with that.
It makes a lot of sense because of just what you were saying a moment ago about how you're making decisions. Like, yeah, you're getting battered around and things are happening not in the way you expected, but you are exercising an agency
Oh
that
shit.
is important. That's the difference.
Oh, that is the yeah, that is the difference.
I'm
Okay.
trying to hold on to that and feel that. I'm not quite there yet. I'm in the, oh, there's water up my nose part right now. I've had glimmers of it though. Like oh, I'm making decisions and things are not how I expected them to be and not the way I wanted them to be. But I made some decisions that felt good and I like stand by them. But then I kind of get that's when I feel like I know what's upright. Where I'm like,
Mm,
oh, I know where the surface of this is.
mhm,
But then I get tossed around some and then I get like lost in the I don't know what's up and down. And it feels like it's really important to know that. Um, I don't know that it is really, but I think that I'm holding on to that's important to know. And
mhm,
so it feels really uncomfortable to not know.
mm. Yeah, yeah. I think this is a lot of, we're both really gonna love to hear this. Letting go of control. I think that's all. Is that all anything is?
Yeah, surrender comes up quite a bit, which is why I tend to go towards that Wild Kuan Yin deck a lot because almost every card talks about some aspect of surrendering.
Mhm,
Whether that's surrendering in the context of trusting that
mhm.
things are happening the way that are in your best interest, or trusting yourself to be able to handle it when it's not.
Yes.
Um,
Uh,
there's a lot of surrender
yes.
practice in that deck.
That is now. That is me. That is where I
Mm,
am. Like so big. Like even like so big to the point where like because I've been having some wild waves of anxiety about this health stuff. And then what I have been leaning into practicing is that like not necessarily leaning into like what's the absolute worst thing that could happen that my
mm,
anxiety is like spinning out all over, but it was just like, well, I guess the worst thing that would happen because what I feel like is I'm dying, right? Like
yep.
anxiety feels like I'm dying. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, okay, I guess then that would be the worst thing that would happen. What if I died? And I was like, well, okay, if I'm going to die tomorrow, then I want to know that I lived today the best day ever. Like, I
Mm,
want to know that, like, that I enjoyed this day and not necessarily in the way of like where I think I would used to think, like, oh, what's the best day ever? And try to come up with like very like extravagant things that are the absolute bests, right?
right.
But this is more of like in this situation that I'm in right now, how can I inject the joy into each moment of this? How can I like savor these last moments that I have in this last day that I have? And like then the logical part of my brain kicks in and is like, um, that's what is like living in the present moment is all about because all we really
Mm,
have is this present moment, is this today. We have no idea what's going to happen like
mm-hmm.
at any time, but I think that that's the whole like yeah, surrendering to like what is. And that's so fucking hard. And I've been working on this, right? I've been like chasing this for a long time and I feel like it's I'm really starting to like get it
Mm-hmm.
in like little pieces.
Oh, that's a good feeling. Oh, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Gold
Thanks. And
stars.
it's a lot of motherfucking letting go of control and letting go of things that I think that I want, things that I think that I need,
Mm-hmm.
and just being like, can I literally be right here, right now? And can I be okay if none of those things ever happen?
Mm,
Can I be in this moment? Like, and I have been asking myself those questions and working towards that for so long now.
mm-hmm.
And it just seems crazy to be like, oh, I think I'm starting to get it.
Yeah. Like the
Like,
spiral staircase, repetition forever, practice,
Jesus Christ.
just like building up the muscle, the tolerance, the capacity. Like,
Yeah, but it's that thing that like I'm like, you can't I don't know how to explain this any better or that, because like years ago, I was like, oh, it makes sense. I want to get it. Just let me get it.
mm-hmm.
But not like nobody could explain it to me in a way that I could get it. I had to live it, I guess, and I had to just keep practicing it. That's
Right.
what all of this is just practice and expand your capacity, which, expands your confidence and your belief and self-trust. And then you, right? And you,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, if this is my last day on Earth, I'm glad that I got to spend it talking to you. I'm gonna cry now. It's
That just made me feel warm all over. Thank you for saying that. I've been thinking about things in that context a lot lately. And it does help um, some days, most of
right.
the time. And I'm really glad to spend this day with you too.
It feels
Even
like
though,
I'm like, shit, that feels like real like deep and heavy. But I mean, I get it's the truth, I guess,
well, if you're down in the abyss, you might as well just name the deep and the heavy.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm at. And I think that's part of my problem is that I am down here in the abyss and I keep on looking around and being like, what do you mean? No one's naming this. No, like, what are you doing? We're in the abyss. Like, act
Mm.
like it. So thank you for being in the abyss and knowing about the depths of things and being able
Wow.
to name it.
Wow. That
It's
felt
very
like
affirming.
very I felt that like deep in my heart. It also feels
Good.
very like Persephone, like, we're doing like it's both
Mm-hmm.
we're what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. You know, the ability to go into
Yes.
both world God, what's the
You're
word?
doing it.
Whatever the fucking word is. It's anyway. Uh yeah.
Yeah, going to both worlds, traversing that liminal
Traversing
space.
maybe, yeah.
Hmm. I've been thinking about that a lot. And there's so many good myths about it. Persephone is one of my favorite ones, so for obvious reasons.
I guess it feels like poignant to being in like the middle of winter and
Right.
like going into the depths and being like, I guess I'm okay with the depths, or I have to be okay, or I have to learn how to be. Oh my God, a chickadee is here. My
Oh,
sweetheart, my sweet. Oh my God, I love the chickadee has been coming to the window, like it's very few and far
mm,
between, but it's happening. And I call it my sweet little angel. And yesterday I stood outside next to the bird feeder because like they were coming to the feeders. And I was like, this is a good time to stand outside and see if I can feed a chickadee in my hand because
mhm.
they're around. And I stood out there. Well, I went outside and there were two in my little tree and they didn't fly off right away. But as I started like going down, they like flew off into the big tree.
Aw.
And so I stood there with my seed in my hand and and I was like whistling their song at them
Aw.
to try to get them to come over. And I stood out there for a good while. One came over and like landed in the tree and then like left. And then I went inside and Luke was like he was like right there in the room. And I don't know if I said something or he said something and I was like, "Oh, I was like whistling to them." And he was like, "That was you?" And I was like, "What? You
Aw.
could hear me?" He's like, "Yeah, I thought you were standing out there playing the recording." And I was like, I think I told him I was whistling really good. Like, I thought, like, I was like, "Wow," I was, like, really proud of myself. I thought it sounded good, and yeah, and then I came in, like, he said that, and I was like, "You thought I was playing a recording?" I was like, "Wow."
You are a chickadee. You're doing it. That is so sweet and delightful. Oh, you're right. That is a sweet little angel. You're talking about the depths of winter, and they're like, okay. You needed
Yeah.
levity? You've been practicing levity? That's beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, I'm hoping that yeah, I guess I'm hoping that we can keep, like keep on that levity train. What is it?
Speaking of levity, Ingrid just woke up out of a dead sleep and now is aggressively grooming.
Oh,
And then she just started aggressively grooming my hand
oh.
so hard it hurt, but she was so earnest. She doesn't really do that like she doesn't groom me very much. She licks me here and there occasionally,
Mhm.
but she was like grooming me just now. It was very sweet. Thank you. That's so nice. Oh, and she just tucked her paws into my hand. This is the best. Animals are so good to us.
They are, and I'm so glad that we have them, and that's another thing like that I think really helped me come to all of that, today that I came to, because it all came
Mhm.
to me, like, while I was journaling today, this morning, and, like, Chloe was laying on my lap, and it was very much
Mm.
like, "How can I savor this moment? Because this is all that matters right now."
Yes.
And and then that's what I did last night too when we were trying to do that yoga with Adrian video,
Yeah.
and in the middle of it, I'm about to do like what is it, like chaturanga, like an up dog kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Like my stomach's on the ground and I'm like up in the front. And she gets on my back and starts like doing
Oh.
her little busy snugs, and she's never like done that, like got on my back before. But I
Mhm.
was just like, I guess I'm laying down and this is what we're doing
Yes.
right now. And then like another point, like I was sitting like cross-legged and she came in my lap and just like got busy and then just laid down, and I was like, I guess this is what
Mm.
I'm doing right now. And then Shavasana was like way longer than anybody had intended because she just settled right in on me. And I
Aw.
was like, yeah,
She wanted you to slow way down in there.
ugh.
That's so sweet. What a good caretaker.
Hmm.